guys, what's going on? It's Ultimus. More challenge modes. This time we are doing Skyreach, I believe is the name of this one. Definitely one of the shorter instances here. The timer on this one, only 17 minutes flat. So instead of pulling our normal way, we're going to kind of take advantage of the fact that we got a druid. And if you'll catch what we're doing here, instead of pulling all that trash at the front, we are just hopping over that little bar there. Not sure if that's exactly legal or not, but hey, we did it, so YOLO. Clever use of game mechanics, I suppose. That's kind of how we ran challenge modes in Mr. Pandaria as well, taking advantage of some of those things as well. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and jump right to the first boss. Not even going to mess with pulling a whole lot of enemies. We got a couple we pulled, but other than that, just going straight for it, shaving quite a bit of time off of our clock there instead of walking all the way around. Wasn't too worried about this first boss. Mechanics are pretty straightforward, just don't stand in stuff. It seems to be as simple of a breakdown as they are, so lots of AoE damage there. Straightforward, again, very much so like you're going to do with the rest of your challenge modes. As many big pulls and cleaves as you possibly can get away with. Sorry there, my phone was going off. That is just unprofessional. But it helps me fill time as I'm rambling over nothing, basically talking about this boss fight that's so straightforward it's a little bit silly. You will notice though that we did not pop heroism right away. We don't need it for this one. Since we skipped all that trash, we're saving heroism till we get a little bit farther up into the dungeon itself, so we're not going to waste our time with that right there, so we can shave the extra time off. As now you can see it's only been a minute and 30. First boss is down, 4 enemies done, and we're moving right along. Pulling this first mob on top of the stairs down here as to not get caught up with all of these. So since we saved ourselves so much time, we're in a position to where we can kind of take the rest of the dungeon at a more steady pace. We're not going necessarily slow, but just steady. So again, we're not feeling rushed. Because at this point, as you can see, it's about 11 o'clock at night. If you take a look at the timer there, which these guys were actually East Coast as well, so it's pretty late. We're pretty tired, and so if we're having to rush stuff, some dumb decisions can be made, and of course that can cost us, and having to start over would not be fun. There are a couple of wipes in this dungeon, which I'll point out when we get up to them. A couple of the mobs we just weren't interrupting on time, but we were still able to manage to get this one down in one run, which is nice. So now we're gonna do another one of our big pulls up here. Not really sure what I was doing there. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what that was all about, aside from I think I got somehow bugged or something. That was really strange. Big pulls, stand them all there, stack them up, just kill them, knocking them all down. I believe there are a couple healers in here you want to watch out for, so if you can, you're going to want to interrupt those. But for the most part, just lots and lots of AoE damage there. Still haven't popped heroism. We're not really worried about it right now. We are saving it for some other boss fights. At this point, we're moving into the second boss. We got 15 of the 46 enemies down, 13 minutes left on the clock. Our healer has swapped back from Boomkin to Resto, because we're going to need it for this boss fight. I can't appreciate how often these guys are swapping back and forth between specs that are necessary. That's the trinket that they're using there to pop all of those mirror images and spinners they got going on there. So if you want to take a pause back on that one, give it a go and check it out so you can see where you can pick it up front, I say go for it. It is an agility trinket only, so I wasn't really too interested in it as a warrior. Just didn't seem like it was all that special. Pulling these guys a little bit slower, getting the trash out of there. Watch out for that debuff as well. I was still trying to obey the mechanics on that one of the solar detonation, moving away from my friends as best as possible. And we're just going for it. We're jumping in. Now heroism is popped, going crazy with the cooldowns, getting everything going, and just trying to lay into him. This is one boss you do still want to obey the mechanics on a little bit. You don't want to just kind of go in willy-nilly. You definitely want to block those beams when they start dropping. So similar to normal and heroic mode, you want to get in and stand in those ways. And the boss fight should be fairly straightforward for you. As you can see, we've already got him down to 20%. He's in execute range, and we're not too concerned with it at this point. Though I did stand in stuff there because I'm a noob, and luckily the battle res was on point. Again, I say this every time, but I am trying to pull my own weight and actually not just be dead weight in the group, but I'm really not super good at PvE, I'm not going to lie. So there's that. But so I'm thankful to be running with a group that is putting up with me and is on those battle reses. Definitely knows what they're doing. So just going up the stairs, progressing through as normal. Getting over to this. This is probably my least favorite boss in the entire dungeon. It bothers me. I wiped too many dumb times on this and doing heroics. Just a little bit silly. So pulling all the birds here, just AoEing them down. No need to draw it out or make it a little bit more of a longer fight than necessary. Just again spamming and keeping up with those whirlwinds. I've been fixated a couple times, so I need to kind of be careful with that. But our strategy for this boss fight is going to be just bursting the boss down and making sure we don't aggro or attack the birds that he spawns. I'll still go hide behind the pillar here for quills. Just it's kind of a jerk reaction. It's something I'm just used to doing, and I felt like if I could save my healer the stress of trying to keep me alive, I would do it. But the little phoenix birds that he drops and spawns from those piles of ash, we just weren't even going to mess with. So we were just going to not even attack them, not even worry about messing with those mechanics. So you can kind of ignore half the mechanics of this fight. Dropping another food buff down, just to rebuff everybody up. A couple of us have died mid-battle res, so it's nice to get those buffs down. We were kind of joking while doing these runs. Anytime we die, we just said we didn't die. We just reset the heroism. That's all we're doing. We're just resetting the debuff. So I like that mentality, just keeping it nice and fresh and keeping it nice and positive. It really was a fun group. It was a fun group to run with. It was a fun group of guys just to chit chat with and goof off with while we were running these things. Overall, it didn't feel stressful. It didn't feel pressured. It was just a bunch of dudes hanging out, playing WoW, and that's the kind of stuff I like to do. Those are the people I like to play with. I can't stand playing with people that are so uptight and just over the top with expectations of everybody and what they expect from everybody in this game, and so it just ruins the fun for everybody. But before I go off on too much of a rant, we're here to talk about challenge mode. So as you can see there, jump behind the pillar, save my heroic leap for that to get behind the pillar, so I wouldn't get hit by those friggin' quills, because that's just not cool. Keeping an eye on the solar flare though, don't want to get hit by that. Since he was just about done, I decided to jump out there, take a couple hits, figured it was worth it, just to get back on the boss. There's another phoenix, not even going to mess with it, making sure I move to the other side so I don't accidentally aggro it or hit it with my AoE spells. Not in the mood for that. I'm still... Something happened between the last round and this round. I don't know if I just kind of caught my second win as a person and got on top of my situational awareness or what, but I feel like I'm doing a lot better mechanic-wise and not standing in crap this fight. So standing around the pillar there, trying not to hit those guys, just don't want to be that guy, just don't want to do it. So we've done a pretty good job on this fight. Again, fairly straightforward. Now the end of the fight, this fight is the best part. Ready? This is what we're going to do. Just wait for it, and now we're jumping off. Reset the debuff. I love it. I died before I even hit the ground. It was wonderful. Make sure you don't do that before you finish the boss. Just a pro tip, because it does respawn you right here. Feast is down, rebuffing everybody up, getting everything back up. Doing pretty good. We are well over halfway on our enemies killed. We got one more boss to do. At this point, really the longest portion now is just getting there. This is a little bit of a long trek to get from here to the last boss. But we're still doing pretty good on time. 8 minutes to go. We do hit a couple wipes from this point on, like we were talking about earlier at the beginning of the video. One of the mobs we really weren't interrupting and getting on and stuff like that, so we paid the price for that, and it definitely killed us on time, and I guess repaired those too. But this is another point where we're going to take advantage of the Druid mount ability. If you'll watch, the Druid is going all the way around, and so instead of us walking all the right way around as well, we're just taking turns hopping on the back of our Druid friend and then just getting off. Big fan of that, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. And then me thinking I'm clever here, trying to get up the banister without falling off because that darn wind. And I believe this is where we hit our first wipe, if I'm not mistaken. We get pretty much all the mobs down except for a couple of them. I should have just taken the initiative and honestly interrupted crap. I should have just known, but I was kind of in default, just do what I'm told mode. Kind of go back and forth sometimes on whether or not it's a good thing, taking orders or just taking initiative. Sometimes I'm just not the best at figuring that crap out. But yeah, so again, kind of a big pull here as well. Got a lot going on, just lots of stuff in the doorway there. I think we were talking about one of the things that was bugging too, like something couldn't be targeted or something wasn't interrupting as well. So I don't know what that was all about, but trying to get on top of that little totem there. Definitely trying to still pay attention to this, but our tank is dead, so there's really not much we can do at this point. Accidentally opened up my little PvP tab there, a little bit silly. And I'm not really taking a whole lot of damage either, so I'm not generating a lot of rage, except for there when I got hit, like basically one shot. So I'm just going to go ahead and release Spirit after this one, because we're going to just run back, which is totally cool, and that's going to cost us. So taking time to still rebuff up, because we're still doing okay on time. At this point, talking with the group, they're not too stressed out about it. They seem to be pretty confident, so that puts me at ease as well. So I figure, hey, why not take the time to food buff and get that heroic leap up there just because. I meant to ask our hunter why he was using the Stalker pet as well, or the Strider, I should say. I wasn't quite sure what the benefit of using that was. I don't know if that's just a PvE thing or if it's simply preference. I guess that's what I get for not playing a hunter. Hunter is definitely one of the classes I want to level up next, so maybe I'll figure that out and then I'll be able to answer my own question. Unless any of you guys know, then please feel free to leave it in the comments section explaining why the Strider pet would be his pet of choice. Just curious. I am using Commanding Shout since the DK has the Horn of Winter, so I don't need to use my attack power buff. So I figure since we don't have a priest, I'll just go for that stamina. Not that that's really all that big of a deal, but just thought I would throw that out there for you guys. Since I'm trying to throw as many tips and helps as I can in here, I don't really know how helpful I'm going to be, aside from just sharing my perspective on some of this stuff. We just got destroyed again. I really don't know what happened there. I have no clue why we wiped there a second time, but there it is. So at this point, we're kind of chit-chatting. I was trying to get in what I should be doing. Should I wait for a res or just release? I'm not going to lie. I don't actually remember what I chose to do, so I'm going to find out at the same time you guys do. I'm on the edge of my seat here. Oh, yeah, we released. So it's kind of weird how it just kind of went, we were doing so well and then it just kind of started falling apart there at the end. I'm getting a little nervous now about the last boss fight, just like, great, this is how this is going to go, we're going to have to do this one over again. Maybe it's just me being naive, but that's okay. So trying to get over there as quick as possible so I can just keep it moving. Wishing that the druid was back over there so I could jump down, but that's okay, walking around is not going to kill me. It's just like rezzing, just come back, walk back to your body, don't wait for a res. Especially here since we're pressed for time. But we are just outside that last boss's room, so looking okay so far. 4 minutes to go. I feel like this is one of the closer calls out of all of the dungeons that we've done, just as far as how close we got to missing that time window. So that was kind of dicey. I mean, I guess they can't all be perfect runs. It is worth noting, too, for challenge modes that it's good to remember that your stats are scaled down to, I believe it's 630 item level. Everything is scaled back down to that level, so it doesn't really matter how good your gear is as long as your stat priority is on point. And I don't believe set bonuses work either, so there's that as well, which is kind of a downside. But again, I suppose they have to be challenging somehow, or else people will just steamroll through them without any concern. And that would make them no different than normals or heroics. So this is really our last big pull here before we get to the boss. As you can see now, we've got all 46 of our enemies taken care of, so we don't have to worry about scrounging for any more of them after we killed the boss, which again is always nice. I couldn't imagine having to do that at the end of a boss fight. That would just be frustrating. We're going to use our clever hunter trick here. He's going to pull this dude away, and we're going to walk right past him, and then he's going to reset the mob, so we're not even going to have to worry about killing him. Just skip him. And I love that we can do that. I love that stuff like that can totally be taken advantage of, and it's not necessarily exploiting, because you're not hacking or cracking any kind of game or anything like that. You're just making yourself, making things a little bit quicker, and you're shortening things. I love stuff like that. I think it's kind of fun. And just makes stuff like this different, I think, than doing regular heroics. Spices it up a little bit. On this last boss fight, because we've reset heroism, we're popping it right away, just going ham with all the cooldowns, as per usual. At this point, I'm sure you guys would expect nothing less. This is one boss fight you do want to obey mechanics on. As far as when the birds come down and start trying to carry people away, you want to be able to get on them and drop them down, because again, if not, you will lose members and you will wipe the fight because you're just not going to have enough DPS. The reason, again, that's such a big deal is because your gear is scaled down to, I believe, 630 item level, so it's not like you're going in there with your 670s or higher and you're just steamrolling everything. As you can note, though, in the back there we have that dude trapped in the back, not even going to worry about DPSing him. Obviously not standing in the fire. I say that, you know, because I learned my lesson from the last time we did a run. Sitting on the bird again, but then realizing the guy is so friggin' low, it almost doesn't. Just getting that interrupt for that extra damage buff, and going for it, and boom, there it is. So that was kind of cool. Got that, plus a little achievement there at the end. Always kind of cool. But that's going to do it for this one. I hope you guys are enjoying these. Got a few more coming for you. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.